How's it going, guys? So we're just getting this series of videos boxed off where we're talking about the YCS, covering anything we missed while we were there. This is probably the end of the YCS content, depending when the debt list went up. So, we'd planned to do a lot more content off the back of the YCS. There were a lot of issues that impacted on that. Not necessarily just the event, but like London itself. We'll get into it. Anything that would be kind of like uncool for us to say on here, we're not just gonna like publicly blast the event in any way. That's not happening because we've received a feedback form, and any issues we've actually had is going to stay between the feedback form and us that we think deserve to be. So everything that's said in this video is kind of taken as constructive criticism and how we can make these events better. I say we, Konami and the voice of the community, which to be fair we're a very small part of at the minute, but every little helps, so it seems worth saying. So we started off with, we got there on Friday, didn't we?
Yeah, early Friday.
We set off early morning on Friday from here, and we made it to London in really good time. I'll get on to London later though. Ooh, we can publicly blast London all we want. Ooh, right. So, Friday was pretty much registration. It went well, the crowds were handled brilliantly, we kind of got a feel for the space, worked out, you know, the area that we'd be in, and we picked up our initial prize support, which was great. Some photon hyping over, we got a coin, we got the playmat, the prize support for that initial day of just picking up was stellar. There was some side events on as well, but we all wanted to be fresh for the Saturday. So do you want to take us into Saturday?
Yeah, so it was an early morning again.
Yeah.
Early start, forceful brekkie. So when we get there, we just get situated. We asked the judges a couple of questions, maybe just concerning about when the rounds are going to start, whether or not we need to make someone know that we're about, or whether or not our appearance needs to be made known. So when we get situated in one area with the pairings, it was slow as expected because they were introducing a new QR system.
Now, this is something that like we really need to get on. Neuron was pre-registered debt lists prior to the event, which was brilliant in some aspects. So very quickly, I'll say my experience with that, apart from my Konami ID getting split, which was really weird, and I think it happened to yours.
Yeah, I had a bit of a panic.
Yeah, we both did. We got it sorted. We got our debt list registered. I had spoke to like a person at the event who apparently really struggled with that because they had an older phone. It wouldn't import all the cards, so they literally couldn't submit the list. But Neuron ahead of time, if that gets ironed out, oh my god, that made Friday stress-free if it works.
And the minute you get registered on Neuron, your events are all recognized as long as you put the right Konami ID in there. So what I ended up having to do was delete the assigned one that the Neuron had given me through the COSI website, then re-input my old one, which I don't know why that wasn't the default anyway, but that's why I had a panic over. With pre-existing players, it can be a bit annoying, but you have to jump through a hoop or two just to get it set up.
And the other thing is, if you're a brand new player with a phone that can just handle it fine, my god, that'd be seamless.
Yeah, especially if you don't have a COSI ID, it just assigns you one.
It just creates your COSI ID for you.
You can literally just use that. So for any new players, Neuron's fantastic. And again, all your events that you enter with, they'll just come up on your events list.
Also,
and
huge note while we're on Neuron, translations are now just allowed, and the calculator on it with the actual log built in that is certified by Konami, it's their product and you're allowed to use it at events. Game changer. No more scraps of paper or anything like that were needed. You just had Neuron and it was the perfect companion app if your phone supported it well.
yeah.
So the QR matchmaking,
So there were a lot of people trying to access it at once. I presume a few people were still having problems with Neuron, the actual QR access. I was having an absolute nightmare of a meltdown. I ended up having to ask my friend to input my Konami ID just to get onto my pairing, which is the only reason I managed to show up early. And my opponent actually was even having the same issue, and he showed up 26 minutes late, and we ended up getting that in a time extension. So as I say, they all sorted it out. Everybody got time extensions. It took a while for people to get situated, and the first round ended up taking 2.5 hours, something like that.
That being said, I think when it's a part of what makes these events what they are is the fact that it's a mental marathon. And when you get this kind of very large start-stop, not a small one, it was huge. It was like 45 minutes just initially, never mind next round setup. It was 45 minutes in additional time.
Yeah.
You end up in this weird limbo. You can't, like...
You need to cool down, you forget to hydrate, you need to make sure you have snacks. There's a lot of things that go into it, and if you think you're ready for a YCS, you just need to make sure that you're ready for operating for a possible 12 to 14 hours on 6 hours, 7 hours sleep. Like, even if you got jitters, you're not going to get a good sleep. So
yeah,
it's a long day, which isn't a problem. It's just comes with the event. As the rounds progressed, obviously, like, the people were dropping out to enter inside events. People were finally getting the hang of the system. There were less people trying to access it at once. So once people had just slowly got into the sway of things, and they knew they could go to certain people to ask for help, then the round started to get a bit more streamlined. So the second round was an hour and a half. The third round was about an hour and a half again. And then about round 6, they just started becoming an hour and a quarter consistently, which is pretty quick considering there was only 9 rounds.
That's the thing. I think once everything got into the swing of it, and again, this QR matchmaking is brilliant. If everything works, which is difficult, and I think it worked well given the circumstances, because bearing in mind you have got 4,000 people in a box, a big metal box, trying to access the same network at the same time to do the exact same thing, and it chugged and it struggled. But from, again, my experience was very smooth because I've got a more up-to-date phone. You struggled a lot more.
Yep.
But that is the way to go. That is absolutely the way this should be moving forward. We should be past paper matchmakings, because we did a side event where it was paper matchmakings. Hated it. It was awful. I was immediately like, I want my QR code.
You get unnecessary crowds, and it can be an absolute problem.
Yeah, and asking a load of people who are panicking to find the table so they don't incur penalties to form an orderly queue because it will take less time. It's it's that kind of like trying to get people out of the burning building, form an orderly queue and walk nice and slow. It's a little difficult to get anyone to do that. So
the next point we need to address, like, quite meticulously. Just saying, we're not saying anybody specific is at fault. We're not saying that there was anything specific that went on. There were a lot of problems with this next point, so we all end up bubbling. We didn't end up progressing into day 2, which is a shame. But again, side events are there so that people can at least get the experience.
Oh yeah,
what it's worth.
And the other thing is, because of the sheer size of the event, we dropped on X2 instead of X3. The furthest anyone made was, I believe, round 6, which, you know what, I'm really, really proud of that.
Big event.
Yeah, huge event, massive variety. I found personally, I was prepared to absolutely blitz meta matches, but then was woefully unprepared for anything that was really weird and obscure, and that really showed in my results. Both of my meta matches that I ended up playing just got cleaned up. Like, absolutely no offense to the players, I'd spent an awfully long time on that deck making sure that it could just cut through meta, but I got absolutely decimated by any rogue picks and anything that I didn't foresee. So that was my experience with it on that. But yeah, so we're getting into
the side events. So on Saturday, we only entered the one, and it was an impulse thing because one of our lads was still in the main event, and I was thinking, right, I might as well just join you and Con in this other side event.
Basically, it was a locals. It was 4-round Swiss.
Yeah, something simple. So again, I was having problems with the system, but I managed to get Con to sort that out for me. And then when it was time to actually go into the event, there was quite a lot of people surrounding one area, and so they didn't know where the event would be held, and there were quite a lot of questions that needed to be answered as to where it was going to be, what time it was going to end up starting, because obviously they expected a delay, which, to be honest, it was on time and we ended up being late. But a lot of the staff there, they just didn't know the answers to the questions that people needed to know.
And this is very quickly jumping in. This is no fault of the staff. You have got 4,000 people that you're trying to keep organized, and it is a nightmare. But it just feels like there could have been like some kind of like way for them to communicate and refer you to where you needed to be or who was in charge of that, because a lot of the issues with it were going to people and going, we need to know this because we are very aware we're late for this event, we've been here early and we can't find the event and we're going to incur penalties. And the answer being a resounding, I don't know, try here, but probably not. And more often than not, it was probably not. It took us quite a while, and I think you immediately got a game loss.
I immediately got a game loss for being late, which, to be honest, kind of... It didn't put me in the right mindset for playing at all.
Yeah. Con's phone in that time, I think he had some issues with it. I can't remember the exact issues he was having, but he couldn't connect to the matchmaking. So then we ended up in a situation where it was like, okay, find the person who doesn't have another player, and then ask if your name's on it. Like, okay. And then eventually we're going through the motions of this event. I was in quite a good space for it. I immediately got my first win, and I was like, second wind, I'm having fun now. This is what I'm used to. This is a locals with extra steps. And I was playing Ninja, which I brought as a fun deck. And then next thing I hear was like, we're dropping. And if we're dropping, we drop together. We were like, we're going back to the hotel, we're having a few drinks, and I was like, you know what? I'm down for just dropping with my buddies, because Con was in a situation where someone else had dropped, and he couldn't report his win because he didn't have a connection.
There was a lot of inside problems, but the on-demand events, for the people who had the buzzers, they had little.
Oh yeah. So what I think happened, the on-demand events looked amazing. In hindsight, maybe we should have looked at them more because we went for the scheduled side events. So the on-demand events, I get the feeling, organization-wise, they would be horrific to deal with, and absolutely gold star to the event organizers and Konami. They had little like beepers.
Yeah, little beepers.
So you get given a beeper, and then as soon as your round fills up, your beeper goes off. You report to them. They set up the tournament. You play the tournament,
and it's an 8-round knockout or whatever.
Yeah, and you get taken to your table, and everything is seamless. And we were like at the sideline, struggling, looking at that, going like, "That's really impressive. That is really well organized." So I think because that would have been a logistical nightmare, the actual scheduled side events like may have gone by the wayside a little.
Given that there was like 4,000 people there.
Exactly.
And it was also open door as well. You didn't have to scan a ticket like you would have done at the last YCS London, because I had a wristband that just allowed me to walk in and out. Yeah. And that was the only thing that gave me access. But because this was open to anybody who just wanted to come, anyone was welcome to come to these side events, and anybody was welcome to enter as long as they had a Konami ID.
Yeah.
So organizing 4,000 people, it's a concert. Like, you're genuinely not going to be able to do it like perfectly anyway.
Yeah.
So in some aspects it was really great, and in some there was just a little bit of work, a little few problems that kicked
teething
up.
problems as well, because as I've said, you like your in-paper stuff, but I think this is absolutely the way
It is the way forward. Like, even I agree with it. It's just like, with me specifically, I like to just go to this piece of paper. There's no, there's security in it, and all I had to do was walk up to the judge and go, "Hey, I won. What's your name? Here's my name. Search the name. There's your name."
Yeah.
I like that system, but I'm a boomer.
Yeah, you've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh forever, whereas I'm like, oh my god, all these things that are just stress, gone.
So,
but, it came with a lot of the teething issues.
Sunday. So,
that was more of the same.
yeah, pretty much the same. We tried entering a side event.
Except we were onto it, so we were, like, very insistent on getting to where we needed to go.
And it turned out all we needed to know was, all anybody needed to know was who had the information. And I think, like, it was sort of
I feel like that was the most frustrating part.
It was annoying climax, because it's like, well, if this particular group knew the answer, and had I just known that they were there, we wouldn't have been having this 45-minute charade. Like 55 to 100 people wouldn't be having this charade. And obviously the tournament ended up getting delayed. People were late. There were the same issues happening.
The first side event that we did, half of the event just weren't there. It was not an isolated thing with us. We noticed it a lot with the other side event. It was a bit gappy as well, where clearly people were struggling to find it. It's a point of improvement, but like these progress points come with these difficulties. So and I think we need to get onto the prize.
The prize support.
So for a card game, a TCG that always gets ragged on for its prize support, and I've heard this non-stop.
Fantastic.
Amazing. So
nostalgic new playmat that is limited and was given out to anybody who showed up.
The coins, the
exclusive coins, we've yet to see how limited they are. And we were actually extremely fortunate to pull 2 DMGs and a Win Karibo. Very nostalgic, so we're very grateful for receiving those.
Giant cards on display.
Playmats.
They were like really kind of like desirable playmats that were very achievable.
So like one of the people we knew racked up 124 tickets in the first day, and that was his only day there.
You are looking at like a ninja.
You're looking at a playmat that's 150 quid and a prize card, because it was 100 tickets. So that's so much.
Oh, the replica prize card.
Yeah. Well, just the giant card. You can get a giant card for 100 tickets.
Yeah.
And then he wanted this specific playmat, so he could also get that playmat.
Yeah.
So he walks away with whatever amount he wants.
To be fair as well, that guy's a pro.
He is really good.
Pro.
Really, really good.
But yeah, so like you could so achieve these. I mean, we got like how many OTS packs?
24 from one side event, and we didn't even do that well. Like,
I mean, we didn't do bad.
I mean, it could have been like a matter of getting like 50, or like we'll have one more win been the difference, given the tiebreakers, because we drew the first round.
Yeah, but even that, like, just brilliant. That like getting a Steam Deck as part of your prize support, brilliant.
Yeah.
And the main event prize support was again solid through and through. The prize support was brilliant. I can't say enough, considering how much I've heard that it's lacked in the past, and I don't even know how accurate that is. It's just something that I've heard people say about Yu-Gi-Oh! In specific. Completely false. It was great.
Right, so getting on to the stars of our experience.
Oh yeah, right. So everything aside, all of the hassles we'll get into with like London, anything else, my god, the best thing about this game is that you have to hang out with people that you've never met. So I'm gonna do like a rapid rundown. Con massacred his finger cutting bread.
With a bread knife.
And like it was bad.
It was the most unclean, like, deep finger cut you could imagine that wasn't like finger off.
Yeah. we're not going to put an image up because genuinely we'd need to put a trigger warning on it. So he tried to go to the hospital in London. We'll get into this bit when we talk about London. Didn't end up going there. He actually came back to the event to see how we were doing because, you know what, that's just con. And he ran into a judge who was an EMT. Just
fixed his finger.
Temporarily.
This guy was really good.
Absolute legend that this guy was like, I am an EMT for a job. I just happen to be a nerd and I judge at these events as well. Like, Con literally went up with his finger bent and was like, I've really messed up my finger. Like, do you know anyone who can help? And the guy was like, that doesn't look that bad. He straightened it out, blood poured out, and he was like, oh God, let's fix that. Yeah. I'm an EMT. Great. Sorry for forgetting your name. There were so many names, but I believe it was Ryan. We met at the Manchester Comic-Con thing. You gave me an Oreo. It's always a pleasure to see you, dude. Say hi.
Very nice guy, and has given me probably one of the worst bricks I've ever had to date.
Oh, yeah. Star, who I really hope I'm getting your name right again, just like totally got it in the 3v3. I mean, I was playing Ninja, so like straight away I'm already like on pins about playing against a fusion deck, but I just impermed in the branded fusion column, but my target was Cartesia, which is the most rookie mistake ever.
Dipstick.
Yep, really bad. And they just got it. They were like, done the same before. Don't feel bad. Great interaction. Ninja player in round 3. We compared our lists, had a good chat. It was great. There was a Sword Soul player who showed me a different exit to the venue, other than just the car park, which was really useful. Really nice place. We've actually got a picture of Moz and Josh out there. I'll see if I can ping that Tom and we can just throw that up. Lewis, we know Lewis, we like Lewis, we see Lewis all over the place. It's always a pleasure to see you, mate. I hope you had a good travel back. And the big one, Con was having a really rough go of it with his deck. He has never been to a major event before. He's never been to anything past an unofficial locals before, and it was kind of huge. He bumped into Solar Flare YGO, who we will link in the comments, and all we heard was Con rave about how much fun he actually had, and it was really.
I know we're used to seeing him laugh a lot, but I've never seen him laugh so hard.
Yeah, Con is like a really quick joker, and he just seemed to get paired up against someone who was on the complete wavelength, and he was like, I wasn't even thinking about the game, it was just great. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of what it's about. Like, you get on with people, and you saw a bunch of your old Yu-Gi-Oh!
Annoying old Yu-Gi-Oh! Friends who just felt the need to inconvenience my day and just say hi. Like,
how dare they?
How dare they?
You will love it.
I did.
Very quick as well, because we actually have to wrap up filming this because we've got a stream coming up. We all pooled together for a hotel. The hotel was lovely. It was insanely comfortable. And while the end figure was a lot, if you can get a bunch of friends together and just do something like this, like just rent a house for a couple of days.
The house idea was great.
How good. I know you've roughed it, I think, before for YCSs and stuff.
Oh, well, no, I stay with a family friend.
Yeah, you've got it good, but
I've got it very good.
People do. London, terrible. We almost died every time we commuted anywhere.
Oh yeah, the drivers are just allergic to indicating when they want to change lanes.
The parking was insane. The congestion charge was a joke. Like, the driving was so bad that Con wanted to go to get his finger seen to and was like, I'm not going to make it there because I'm going to die before I get there trying to drive through London. It was just abysmal through and through. I hate London. Stop holding events that I have to go to there. I don't want to go there anymore. I've been enough. I've suffered enough, especially being into music before Yu-Gi-Oh! So many gigs. Stop making me go to London. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I could never go again in it. It'd be fine. The Natural History Museum's great, but London, I'm sorry if you're from there, because it's awful. Get out of there. Ugh.
And here's me just going on with, please reduce your water bottle prices from £2.50 to reasonable.
See, because I was onto it, we took water. We transported water across the country because I knew, like, you can't drink London tap water, or you shouldn't. So we bought loads here. and the car struggled with it because the boot was just full of
I think you
water.
overdid it. Yeah.
I didn't. We actually
Person in water.
we pretty much used everything apart from the water that I bought in case we had to top up the water in the car. So it was perfect. But still, stop it. London, bad place. No more. Don't make me go there. No. And a special thanks to Con for driving us there. We couldn't have done it without you. He's going to call me soft for saying so. But yeah, Con, it was brilliant to have you. You come into more events, even if it's against your will. And Josh, you saved the damn day when we locked ourselves out between you and Josh, you yeeting him over the fence to get us back into the house. It would have been a logistical nightmare. You're a legend. You can come again. And also checking the tickets because we thought we hadn't won anything because of the way it reported. Josh checked on the app last minute. We found out we got the tickets. We got the OTS packs. It made it great. So in summarization, it was a thing that happened. It was a lot. And I'm really glad for the experience, mostly for the people. So have you got any finishing notes? I just went off then.
Yeah, no. I think you've just summed most of it up, but whether you like it or not, we'll probably be going there every time it's on. Because we need to say hi to our wonderful audience, our wonderful community, the people who support us.
That, yeah, and, like, just in general. I mean, yeah, like... Oh, also, Sleep Token and Architects guy from the prize support queue. That was just great. That was a cherry on the cake. The end of the event... We're having a nice chat with like two cool people, and then we get to watch the finals while in the queue for the prize support, and the finals was like
sick.
Massive.
Probably one of the most devastating wins I've ever seen in terms of how good. You need to see it. Probably one of the best. Like you just looked at that player's hand and you knew who was winning when it was drawn.
And it was game 3, last second against Cash Tira, the big bad of the format.
Great final.
Yeah, watch the final. It was... I finally understand what football players are talking about when they say about the atmosphere. Because, like, people were cheering. Every time a card got dropped, it was like, way! Like, so good. But yeah, so... If anyone's doing anything out of anyone that I've mentioned, just plug your shit. Plug your stuff. Especially Solar Flare YGO. Your stuff's going to be in the comments. Your count should have already gone up a little bit because, like, since Con told me about, like, how cool everything was during that match and how much, like, he was enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! The way that we do when he wasn't before that, like, I've already been, like, plugging your stuff. I'm really looking forward to the video. I think it was some variant of Evil Eye, and I really want to know. So, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the bell icon, take everything we've said in constructive criticism because that's how it's intended. Konami, don't hate us. We'll hit you on the feedback form and hopefully it'll help. That's it. Just everyone kind of chipping in a voice to say like maybe fix this. Might help. You.
In a bit.
That's how we do.